Hello everyone, welcome back to the session of English. In this session, we are going to continue with our previous year questions of CLAT examination. In this session, we are going to discuss CLAT 2020. It means this is previous year questions of CLAT 2020. So this is solved question paper that which we are going to discuss in this session. Okay, so again in this session we will see some questions and also a new pattern of CLAT 2020. As you can see that CLAT examination in our previous years in 2018 and 19, there were a few questions, and after that we had a passage and there were 40 questions each. But in CLAT 2020 the pattern of the examination is totally changed. Now you can see in this examination the total change of the pattern. How? Let us discuss first the pattern of the examination which we are going to discuss right now. Okay, so let me tell you first that in this session we will be seeing some passages. Okay, there are a few passages, around 6 passages are there in this session. In this CLAT 2020 there were 6 passages. Okay, and on the basis of these passages we have 5 questions each. It means 6 5s are 30 questions. There are only 30 questions in this examination, but this entire exam, it contains only passages which were factual, which were literary, and other types which are expository as well. So we have to read each and every passage in detail, and after that we'll answer the questions as follows. Also, one thing we should keep in mind while solving these type of questions, actually what the passage is given to us, we can simply go to the questions and try to figure out those questions from the passage without reading the entire passage, as we do it in several other examinations. Okay, but sometimes it is the requirement, it is the mandatory point that we have to read the entire passage first. And because here we are not just going to solve the paper, we are just discussing to solve this paper, we are discussing the paper. Therefore I will explain you each and every passage, each and every paragraph, each and every word in detail, and after that we'll go to the questions and try to figure out them. Okay, so let us first read the directions of this question. Each set of questions in this section is based on a single passage. Okay, it means this will contain single passage, or you can say there are several passages, and each set of questions mean suppose there are 5 questions, so these 5 questions belong to one passage only. Please answer each question on the basis of what is stated or implied in the corresponding passage. Corresponding passage means passage above those questions. Okay, in some instances, it means examples or passages, more than one option may be the answer to the question. It means for each question we will be given 4 options. Maybe possible there are some options like maybe possible there are a few statements, and for that particular question maybe 2 options are suitable as the answer. Okay, so that can be the situation as well. In such a case, please choose the option that most accurately and comprehensively answers the question. Okay, so you have to look for the correct answer out of the 4 options given below. Okay, so let's begin this session. So first we'll start with passage number 1. Okay, so first of all we'll read passage number 1. We'll discuss the entire passage, and after that we'll discuss each and every question based on this passage number 1. So let's begin with passage number 1. As you can see, the passage is a little lengthy, but need not worry, we'll read each and every line of this passage. So we'll try to read each and every line, we'll try to understand the meaning of each and every line and word, so as we can identify that what is there in the passage, so that we can analyze the meaning of this passage, and after that it will be very easy for all of us to read the questions based on these passage, or to figure out the questions based on this passage. So let's begin reading this passage. Climate change is considered to be one of the most serious threats to sustainable development. Now we all want sustainable development, but this climate change, it means change that occur in climate. Okay, climate is actually the conditions, for example the weather, the soil, and the type of monsoon, and all the conditions that a country or a state face, okay, or a particular region face. So climate change is considered to be one of the most serious threats. It is actually the most serious. It means this is a kind of threat which is more serious or most challenging to sustainable development. It means it is this changing of the climate, this is proving to be an obstacle in sustainable development with adverse impact. Adverse means negative impact or effect on the environment, human health, food security, economic activity, natural resources, and physical infrastructure. Now what happens this with adverse impact on the environment? So it is actually impacting the environment adversely, human health, food security, economic activity, natural resources, and physical infrastructure. So it is disturbing or making adverse or negative effect on all that, or all those things, all these things. Like human health is also being affected because of this climate change. Okay, it means human health may be possible. It is going. It is affecting the human health adversely in a negative manner. Okay, food security, because nowadays food is not secure. It means you can say that the food, it is not of good quality as it had been. Economic activity, natural resources are also getting wasted or devastated. Physical infrastructure, okay, because what physical infrastructure, like for example there are many buildings, there are the natural infrastructure, that is the mountains and all. So all these things are getting disturbed. Okay, according to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, that is IPCC. Okay, this word is wrong over here. This is not PIC, this is IPCC. Okay, this is actually a printing error. So this is IPCC. And what is IPCC? It is actually the United Nations body for assessing the science related to climate change. Okay, so it is a body that is made by United Nations just to assess the events relating to climate change and the science related to climate change. It means it observes, it makes the reports that why this climate changes takes place. Okay, climate change have already been observed, and scientific findings indicate that precautionary and prompt action is necessary. Now, the effects, it means the causes for this climate change, they have been observed. It means now this IPCC, they know, this body, they know well that why this climate change is occurring or happening. So they have observed that this indicate that precautionary, it means something which can prevent, or prompt means quick. Okay, so here this word prompt, this means quick. Okay, let me change the color over here and I'll tell you the meaning of this particular word. This is quick. Okay, so this word means quick. So here we need to have quick responses for this climate change. This is necessary. Vulnerability refers to the action or the state of being fragile, or something, the quality of being very, you can say, which can be easily hurt or affected. Okay, so something which is very weak, which can the state of being or the quality of being very easily attacked or hurt. Okay, so if something is vulnerable, it means it can be easily hurt. Okay, vulnerability to climate change is not just a function of geography or dependence on natural resources. It also has social, economic, and political dimensions. It means this vulnerability to climate change, it means this cause of climate change that has made the things vulnerable, it means weak. This is not only because of geography, it means geographical features, for example the landscapes, the making of roads, the making of the cutting of the forest. This is not the only cause. What else are the causes? Else causes are the social, economic and political dimensions as well, which influence how climate change affects different groups. Poor people, now we are talking about poor people, what they will do if something happened to them. Rarely have insurance to cover loss of property. Now if a poor person, he has some property and it gets destroyed or ruined just because of any natural calamity like floods, or you can say storm, thunderstorm, or you can say because of any natural calamity. Okay, and if his property gets ruined or damaged, what he will do? He has no insurance of that. Okay, so due to natural calamities, that is drought, floods, super cyclones, etc., the poor communities are already struggling. They are the one who are struggling very hard to cope means tolerate or face with the existing challenges of poverty and climate variability. And climate change could push many beyond their ability to cope or even survive. Not only poor people, in fact there are many people, they are just going in that particular threat, because if something happens due to this any natural calamity, they will face it. So not only poor people, in fact there are many more people who are really struggling hard, and their ability, it means this these natural calamities, they're pushing them beyond their ability. It means it is out of their reach, they to cope or even survive. It is vital means important, that these communities are helped to adapt to the changing dynamics of nature. It means these communities, what are these communities referred to? These communities means poor people and the people of whom the reach is going beyond the these you can say the situation is going beyond their ability to cope with all that situation. So these communities are helped to adapt to the changing dynamics of nature. Adaptation is a process through which societies make themselves better able to cope with an uncertain future. Adaptation, actually this is actually a process through which societies, they are taught how they can make themselves better able to cope with an uncertain future. That if something comes in future to them, or something if happens with them, like the natural calamity or any such situation, so they will know how to cope with it. Okay, so they are doing it. So that is known as adaptability. Adapting to climate change entails means involves taking entails means involves, or you can say which makes something mandatory for someone. Okay, which makes the things necessary, taking the right measures to reduce the negative effect of the climate change. Now this adaptability or adaptation is very important and mandatory for all the people, so that if these right measures are taken, they will reduce the negative effects of climate change. Okay, or exploit the positive ones by making the appropriate adjustments and changes. It means some changes are need to be made, some adjustments are need to be made, and after that these natural calamities or the climate changes, these will not affect the society very much as it does now. These range from technological options such as increased sea defenses or flood proof houses. It means people need to build their houses flood proof. On stilts. Stilts refer to actually the platforms or the wooden block, or the you can say this is a kind of wooden or metal block, and on which the buildings are installed or made. Okay, so this will actually these are made above the ground level so that a person can easily survive, and if water comes, if water rises, he is beyond that particular level or he's above that particular level. Okay, so stilts are long pieces of wood or metal used to support a building so that it is above the ground level, ground or water, uh, ground or above water. Okay, behavioral change at the individual level, such as reducing water use in times of drought. Now, drought means when there is no water. Okay, and if this situation appears, or if the situation where very less water is there or no water is there, where a scarcity of water is faced by the people, now what happens in such situation? People must be taught to not waste water, to use water very less or very little, uh, only as per the requirement, and they should avoid water as much as possible. Okay, and one should not waste water at all. Other strategies including early warning systems. Now, what are the other strategies that are required? That is early warning system. It means if something dangerous is going to happen, they should be warned before it happens. For example, if you must have learnt, or if you have seen, or if you have gone through any news of tsunami, so if the indication had been given earlier, many people could be saved. For extreme events, better water management, improved risk management, various insurance options, and biodiversity conservation. So these measures can be taken. Because of the speed at which climate change is happening due to global temperature rise, it means global temperature is rising, and that is making this climate change. It is urgent that the vulnerability of developing countries, it means the weakness of developing countries to climate change, is reduced and their capacity to adapt is increased, and national adaptation plans are implemented. So, this adaptation, this should be taught to every citizen who are residing in a place which is, or in a region which is highly risky, or you can say these adaptation plans, they should be implemented. Okay, communities must build their resilience. It means they must build an ability to recover from or adjust from this situation, or easily to misfortune or change. It means they should be flexible, they should be flexible to adapt these changes. Okay, if there are some changes like these, so they should be flexible. It means they should move to some other places, or they should keep their houses like these. For example, they can be, you can say, they can adjust with they can they can cope up with these situations, including adopting appropriate technologies while making the most traditional knowledge. Now, this one is something important. The most traditional knowledge. Traditional means something which was happened in the past. And diversifying means changing their livelihoods to cope with current and future climate stress. Local coping strategies and knowledge need to be used in synergy with government. It means there should be a coalition or alliance with the government, that is the local strategies along with the government. So they should make a coalition, or they should make an alliance, so that the people can be taught, or they can be made adaptable to the environment. Okay, uh, and local interventions means interference. Okay, the need of adaptation interventions depends on national circumstances, so this should be national circumstances. Also, this adaptation interventions, it means this involvement of adaptation, so this should be aware, this should be made aware to the public. There is a large body of knowledge and experience within local communities on coping with climatic variability and extreme weather events. Local communities have always aimed to adapt to variations in their climate. Local coping strategies are an important element of planning for adaptation. Traditional knowledge can help to provide efficient, appropriate, and time tested ways of advising and enabling adaptation to climate change in communities who are feeling the effects of climate change due to global warming. So, with the help of these changes, with the help of adaptability, with the help of these traditional knowledge to cope with these type of situations, this will definitely make the people uh, aware of the climate changes and also the solutions to these climate changes, not the solutions but actually how to face these climate changes. Okay, so this was a nice paragraph or the passage about the people and their learning of adapting these changes. Okay, I hope you understood the entire passage very well, and I have tried to make you know the meaning of each and every word. I hope you must have noticed each and every word or the meaning of each and every word. Now, this is very important for all of you to notice actually what the passage is about. What makes the passage difficult is just the use of words or the use of a style of writing. Now, if we know the meaning of each and every word which is given in the passage, we are able to analyze or figure out the meaning of that particular passage, and that will make us figure out the questions easily. Okay, now this is the passage. You know the theme of the passage, you know what the passage is about, you know the meanings of the word or the difficult words in this passage. So I hope you understood the meaning of this entire passage. Now it will be very easy for all of us to do the questions based on this passage. Okay, so let us move to the questions now, and I should remove all this annotations that we have made. Now let us move to the question. This is question number 1. To address the challenge of climate change, developing countries urgently require. So, to address the challenge of climate change, what developing countries urgently require? Implementation of national adaptation plans, adaptation of short-term plans, adaptation of technological solutions, imposition of climate change tax. Now, what can be done for this developing countries in these developing countries for this challenge of climate change? Now, if we go back to the passage, you can see it over here that it is written just because it is urgent that the vulnerability of developing countries to climate change is reduced and their capacity to adapt is increased, and national adaptations plans are implemented. So, what is the urgent requirement? Now, you can easily see the word directly, see the line directly in the passage that it is written that increased and national adaptation plans should be implemented on the urgent basis. So, this is the answer. Now, if you have not read the entire passage, and if you had gone to the questions, now what you could have done, you could have just read the question or the keywords, and you must have scrolled in the passage, or you must have you can say scroll your eyes over the passage so that you can look for that particular word, you can search for that particular word which you are looking for, and if you find that particular word, it will be easy for all of you to answer those questions. But if you have time, it is important for you all to read the entire passage first. After that, it will be very very easy for all of you to answer the questions that follows. Okay, now if you see this, now according to this, the answer will be implementation of national adaptation plans. This should be the correct answer. Now let us see if this is the correct answer. Yes, of course, option A, this is the absolutely correct answer. Okay, I hope you understood this question. This question is very very simple and easy. Now let us move to the next question. Now the next question is, as you can see, there are multiple options given. How? Given below are the factors of vulnerability of poor people. Now what they are asking about poor people, it means the weakness of poor people to climate changes. Select the option that contains the correct answer. Now you have 4, and out of these 4 you have to select the combination which is actually correct about these poor people. Now let us read these one by one. Their dependence on natural resources, because poor people, they are dependent on natural resources. Geographical attributes, lack of financial resources, or lack of traditional knowledge. Now what will be the answer? Third only, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 3, 2 and 4, or 1, 2 and 3. Now they're asking about poor people. So let us get back to the passage again, and after this, let us try to find out the meaning. Now, vulnerability to climate change is not just a function of geography or dependence of natural resources. It also has social, economical, and political dimensions which influence how climate change affects different groups. Okay, so they are talking about different groups, that these are the factors which make different groups in difficulty to cope with these climate changes. Poor people rarely have insurance to cover loss of property. It means they are financially weak due to natural calamities, that is drought, floods, super cyclones, etc. The poor communities are already struggling to cope with the existing challenges of property and climate variability, and climate change could push many beyond their ability to cope or even to survive. It means the uh, starting three factors, that is their dependence on natural resources, geographical attributes, and their lack of financial resources. All these three are the factors for the vulnerability of poor people to climate changes. Okay, so if you see these four options, if you go for 1, 2, and 3, it is given in the D option, that is 1, 2, and 3. So this will be the correct answer. Okay, now lack of traditional knowledge, if you see this one, this point, you can see it over here. Lack of traditional knowledge is given in the last. Okay, so they have not talked about the lack of traditional knowledge because locals, they know the traditional knowledge, they have an idea about the traditional knowledge. So that cannot be the possible way, or that is not the factor. Actually, the factor is their dependence on natural resources, geographical attributes, lack of financial resources. So these are the problems that are faced by the poor people for the climate change. Okay, that makes them vulnerable. It means weak. Okay, so here according to this, our answer will be D, that is 1, 2, and 3. So these are the factors. Okay, so this will be the correct answer. Now let us move to the next one. Now which question is the next one? This is question number 3. Which of the following is against the idea portrayed in the passage? Coordination between regional and natural efforts is necessary. This one is coordination, or you can say coordination. This is not coordination, this is coordination between regional and natural efforts is necessary. The process of adaptation to climate change does not take into account of the factor prevailing national circumstances. So they are asking about the idea which has been talked about in this passage, and which of the following is against that. It means which is not covered in the idea of the passage. Now the idea of the passage is about the process of adaptation for the climate change. Okay, or adaptation to cope with the climate change. Okay, so according to this, social dimensions of climate changes also need to be appreciated. Combining traditional knowledge with appropriate technology is need of the hour. Obviously it is, because it is given in the last some lines of the passage. Or social dimensions of climate change need to be appreciated. Obviously they should. Coordination between regional and national efforts, when it has been said about the synergy of government with traditionals, with the locals, as you can see it is over here, that local coping strategy and knowledge need to be used in synergy with the government with local interventions. Okay, so and traditional knowledge can help provide efficient, time tested advising, adaptation to climate change communities, and no feeling of effects changes due to global warming. Okay, so these two lines prove that yes, these are the ideas, but the B1, this is not actually. The process of adaptation to climate change does not take into account, whereas it is the need of the situation, that it is the need of the hour, that this adaptation to climate change should be implemented. Therefore, this B is the correct answer, as it is against the idea given in the passage. So our correct answer will be B. Okay, now let us move to the next one. Now let us move to the next question. This is question number 4. The traditional knowledge should be used through. Now The traditional knowledge should be useful. So these are 4 options. Improvement in national circumstances, synergy between government and local interventions, imposition of climate change tax, or the dissemination. Now, obviously, if you see the paragraph, it is written over here that local coping strategies and knowledge need to be used in synergy with government and local interventions. Okay, so it should be used through synergy or the combination or the agreement between the locals and the government. Okay, so according to this, the answer to question number 4 should be synergy between government and local intervention. So our answer should be B. Okay, now let us move to the next question. And the next question is, what is the meaning of the word resilience occurring in the passage? Now, as I told you that the meaning of the word resilience, it is given over here that the resilience. Communities must build their resilience, including adopting appropriate technologies while making the most of traditional knowledge and diversifying their livelihoods. It means they should be flexible enough. Okay, so here the correct answer will be flexibility. Okay, so the meaning or the synonym of the word resilience is flexibility, that is C. Okay, so our correct answer will be C. Okay, so option C, that is flexibility, is the correct answer or the correct synonym of the word resilience. I hope you understood the entire passage very well. Now we have read passage number 1 and we have also solved this passage number 1. So it is time to solve passage number 2 now. So we have already discussed passage number 1. I hope you understood the meaning and the questions of that particular passage. Now it is time to discuss passage number 2. Now let us start reading passage number 2. The uncovering of private Instagram group styling itself boys locker room, featuring students from some prominent South Delhi schools discussing their female classmates in disturbingly violent ways, including plans of sexual assault, is a wake-up call for parents and authorities. Now, as you can see that this term is boys locker room. It is actually a controversy that refers to the investigation of an Instagram group or that is used by some school boys in the South Delhi campus or in the South Delhi school. So this is actually the group on Instagram of those boys, and they discussed their female classmates disturbingly violent ways. It means they used that particular group by some Delhi teens. Okay, so that is a group actually that is made or used by some Delhi teens who have talked about or who have discussed about their female counterparts, and they used the abusive language for them. Okay, so wake up calls for parents and authorities. So this styling of this group or the group styling, this should be the wake up call for parents and authorities. It means there should be an alarm for the authorities as well as for the parents. The group formed last month so kicked up a social media storm when screenshots surfaced. Kicked up means became strong. It became strong, and a social media storm when screenshots surfaced. Police have questioned a 15-year-old boy to identify other members. It means a 15-year-old boy was involved in that group, and he was questioned, or he was, you can say, investigated. He was inquired. He was interrogated, and he was also asked to identify the other members. Similar incidents involving minors discussing gang rape of classmates have been reported on the other digital platforms like WhatsApp too. So they have created such groups on WhatsApp too across cities. The exchanges is the in the now deleted group require precise responses. Precise means strange or sharp responses from police, parents, and school authorities, around whom the fates of the juveniles, fates means future of the juveniles, or you can say those teenagers. Okay, so the future of the juveniles involved and now revolve, because the police, the parents, and the school authorities, all these people should be aware about these children, about these teenagers, because they're the future of these minors. Obviously the people who are below 18 years of age, they are called juvenile or the minors. So the future of these juvenile, because we know, we consider these juvenile or the minors, that they, whatever they do, they don't have the conscience of doing that, they don't have enough knowledge, they are just in their teenager, you can say teenage stage, of developing stage or growing stage. So they do anything they want to do, but if they are counseled properly, they will not do that. Okay, so it is important to recognize, it means to identify where a teenager spouting objectification of female counterparts is coming from. It means where a teenager is spouting means just anything which has been said in a louder manner, a very loud manner. So this is spouting objectification, it means abuses for the female, for his female counterpart. It means for the female, for the female who is studying, or who is the another student of his own class. So why, from where these type of abusing words are coming for those counterparts, female counterparts? People of all ages, not just children, are retreating deeper into the reexes of this online avatars during this lockdown. Now you must have seen that this lockdown period, that was really a dangerous one, and all the people, they were just involved, or you can say they just made online platform their own way of living. It means in the during lockdown, people, they did not allow, they were not allowed to move out, they were not allowed to roam, they were not allowed to go out. Therefore they faced so many difficulties, and they used to live in the in a particular room only, or in the particular area only, in their homes only. What they did, they just made online platform their most time pass area. Okay, so they spent a lot of time online, and also reactions of their online avatars. It means they were just involved in the online platforms only during this lockdown. Not only the children, but also the elders. But the heavy technological investment in children's education, including flooding them with personal smartphones, has not been matched by serious conversations centered on responsible internet usage and equality. Now, one most important thing during lockdown was the online education. Now, children, they were not going to school, so they were provided with the smartphones, and their classes or anything relating to education, they used that online platform for their education purpose. Now what elders did, they just flooded them with the smartphones and with internet access. Okay, so what the students were doing, they were not only studying, but they were extremely using internets for their entertainment, for their any other apps, for the games and all. So they were highly involved in those technological advancements. Though it could have been done that they would not have allowed the smartphones for many hours. They must be provided the smartphones only for the particular intervals of the education sector, and also they should be properly watched, but the parents did not do so. In fact, they flooded their child with their children with smartphones and other gadgets. Okay, so young impressionable minds absorb the normalization of rape from the adults around them. Okay, when what they see, read and hear is toxic masculinity, it is masculinity, that is what they perform. That is what peer pressures become about. But if this youthful role play of macho dominance receives timely counseling, it can prevent far graver adult offenses. It means far graver means very dangerous, highly dangerous. If the youth is properly counseled about the gender equality and about these type of situations, about you can say good touch or bad touch, so it can prevent far graver means very dangerous or very extremely dangerous happenings to be done in future. Okay, schools and parents have a critical role to play in educating children. So who has to play this role? It is a school and children parents, obviously. Educating children on gender equality, they should teach their child on gender equality. Digital platforms which claim to have zero tolerance towards content that violates community standards must also explain why such abuses go undetected. And there are some contents, you know well, that on the case of in the case of YouTube or various sites, they claim that the data that they have is highly, you can say, restricted or is highly protecting. That means they are not containing anything which is promoting the abuses or undetected. So they should not be left undetected. They should detect their data and the content which they are providing, despite boasts about artificial intelligence driven technologies to stop them. Okay, they should play a more proactive role in stopping the sexual harassment of real people in the guise of virtual sport. Okay, so all of the above, the children, they should be taught, they should be counseled properly on the basis of gender equality and on the ground of gender equality. Also, uh, each and every child, each and every girl, each and every boy, they should be properly taught about sexual education and all, so that they will not do such you can say mishappenings. Okay, so this was the passage. Now let us try to do the questions based on this passage. What is the central idea being conveyed by the author uh, in the passage above? Now let us see the options. Modern social networking platforms must take the lead in regulating young people from using these platforms for sexual abuse. It is significant to educate children and youngsters about gender equality. Digital platforms need to have zero tolerance policy toward content leading to sexual abuse. So what is the central idea being conveyed? It means what is actually conveyed by the author in the passage above. Okay, so what can be done? Now, if you see that we have seen this line as well, that digital platforms need to have zero tolerance policy. And now, if we look back the passage, it is written, schools and parents have a critical role to play in educating children on gender equality. Digital platforms which claim to have zero tolerance towards content that violates community standards must also explain why such abuses go undetected, despite posts about artificial intelligence driven technologies to stop them. Okay, and if we look at these lines, we can observe that modern social networking platforms must take the lead in regulating young people from using these platforms for sexual abuse. So, according to this, obviously A will be the correct answer, because obviously it is significant for the child to educate him. A digital platform, they should have that zero tolerance policy, but despite all these things, modern social networking platforms, they must take the lead in regulating young people. It means they should also promote young people from using these platforms, that they should not use these platforms for sexual abuse. Okay, so they should take a lead of that. Okay, so they should check them, or they should cross check them whether the people are using it for what purpose. Okay, so this will be the correct answer. Now let us move to the next question. Now, as per the author, why is this incident a wake up call for parents? Now let us see the options. Because even the parents are indulged heavily in the social networking platforms. Because parents have failed to stop their children from committing such blunders. Because it is primary responsibility of parents to control their children. Because the parents have failed in educating their children regarding fair internet usage and have simply invested in technology driven education of their children. Now, what parents have done? Why is it a wake up call? Obviously, as we have seen this line, let us see this again as it is given. But the heavy technological investment in children's education, including flooding them with personal smartphones, has not been matched by serious conversations centered on responsible internet usage and equality. Young impressionable minds absorb normalization of rape and from adults around them. It means they are not actually why it is for parents, because parents they have only provided the students with the gadgets, but they do not check whether their child is using that smartphone or that gadget or that technology in the right manner or not. So because the parents have failed in educating their children regarding the fair internet usage and have simply invested technology driven education of their children. Okay, so they are just giving them the facilities, but they are not checking that whether what they have provided is used properly or not. Therefore, the correct answer will be option D. Okay, now let us move to the next question. According to the author, in order to understand the root cause of such insensitive incidents, it is important to understand and examine the kind of socialization process these children are exposed to, adopt artificial intelligence driven technologies, strengthen the environment of discipline in schools and colleges. Now, what can be done? The root cause of such insensitive incidents, it is important to what to do. Understand and examine the kind of socialization process these children are exposed to. Obviously, they should be checked. Adopt artificial intelligence driven technologies, obviously. Strengthen the environment of discipline in schools and colleges. So, all these things should be done. So, according to this, D is the correct answer. That is all of the above. Okay, now let us move to the next question. On the basis of your reading of the passage, which of the following statements can be inferred? Sexual offences can be reduced by timely counseling from parental and quasi-parental authorities, that is, parents and teachers respectively. It is, if digital platforms implement a zero tolerance policy towards such a meanness, sexual offences can be completely stopped. Investment in education of children is enough to curb the meanness. Now, what is the correct thing? On the basis of reading the passage, which of the following statements can be inferred? Now, the first one, sexual offences can be reduced by timely counseling from parental and quasi-parental authorities. Quasi-parental means like parents and teachers respectively. So, if we see these can be reduced. Obviously, we have seen that if the parents and the teachers, they are giving proper guidance, they are counseling their child properly, these type of offences can be prevented. If digital platforms implement a zero tolerance policy towards such a meanness, sexual offences can be completely stopped. No, actually, not only the zero tolerance policy, because they will there is many content which is not actually accessible to all the sites. Investment in education of children is enough to, no, only investment in education is not the solution, because if you invest on the smartphones, it is also making them study, but that is not actually the correct investment. They should be given a smartphones and they should be checked properly, and they should be properly given the knowledge that how to use that internet or the fair usage of that internet. So this cannot be the correct answer, this cannot be the correct answer. If this cannot be the correct answer, all of the above will not be the correct answer. Therefore, the correct answer is option A. That is, on sexual offences can be reduced by timely counseling from parental and quasi-parental authorities, that is, parents and the teachers respectively. Okay, now let us move to the next question. Now, this is the 10th question of this section. Which of the following words are synonymous with the word spouting. Now, what is the actually synonym of the word spouting? Pouring, streaming, erupting, or all of the above. Now, pouring, streaming, erupting, spouting means when to speak in a loud manner or in a boring, which is flooding, running, washing, everything, which is very annoying or irritating. That is why every word is the meaning of this particular word, spouting. That is the synonym. So all of the above will be the correct answer. That is all of the above. Okay, so all these are the synonyms of the word spouting. Now, this was passage number 2 that we have read, and we have discussed each and every question based on this passage. Now it is time to read passage number 3. So first of all, we'll read the entire passage, and after that we'll do the questions as follow. Okay, so let us start reading this passage number 3. The snow was falling, and the cat's fur was stiffly pointed with it. It means there is a situation in which a cat is sitting over somewhere and the snow was falling. It means there was a snowfall that has been described in this passage, and cat's fur was stiffly pointed with it. It means they were harsh because of the cold. It became imperturbable. It means self-possessed. Okay, or you can say which cannot be disturbed. It means those fur, they were just pointed like nails. It means they could not be moved. He said crouched in a situation when someone is feeling, you can say when someone is sitting in a kneel down position but bending towards front position, ready for the death spring. So that spring or that particular season, it was death like for him, for the cat, as he had sat for hours. Because he had sat for hours, it means it was a long time for him to be seated over there. It was night, so this is a night situation or night time. But that made no difference. But that is of no difference, because all times were as one to the cat when he was wait for prey. It means she was, or the cat, sorry, he was waiting. I think it is he cat. We are talking about the male cat. Therefore, he has been used for this particular cat. Okay, when he was wait for prey, he was in wait for prey. It means the cat is just sitting over there and he was waiting for the prey. Prey means someone who he can eat. Then two, he was under no constraint of human feel, for he was living alone that winter. Now he was not in the pressure of anyone, because he was living alone that winter. Nowhere in the world was any voice calling him. It means there was no one who can call him or who is with him in the world. No hearth was there, a waiting dish. No hearth. Hearth is a kind of cooking stove made of, you can say, the traditional stove that one used uh, with the bucket in which there is mud and coals are burnt, or the woods are the logs of wood are burnt, just to make that particular, to cook anything. So any waiting dish that can used for her. He was quite free except for his own desires. So he was quite free over there, but her desires were not making him free, sorry, which tyrannized over him when unsatisfied as now. Tyrannized means dominate or suppress or oppress. So his desires, uh, they were making him oppressed even when they are unsatisfied. The cat was very hungry. The cat, which we are talking about in this passage, that was very hungry, almost famished. Famished means when one feels extremely hungry, extremely hungry. In fact, for days, the weather had been very bitter, because all these days the weather had been very bitter. It means very cold and very severe. And the cat's long hunt had availed him nothing. And whatever the cat long hunt, it means whatever he had hunt for him, that was of no use, because it had been now many days that he had not hunt anything. but he waited with the inconceivable patience. Inconceivable patience means a patience which is impossible, which cannot be convinced. Even then, with that particular extent of patience, he waited over there. He had no option, maybe. And persistency of his race, it means the quality of his race. It means the other animals of or the other you can say other creatures of her own breed. Besides, he was certain. It means he was stubborn, fixed. The cat was a creature of absolute convictions, and his faith in his deductions never wavered. It means his faith that he knew that one day it will happen that he will catch the prey. So that deduction never wavered. It means that consistency, that determination, it was not wavered. It was not disturbed with anything. The rabbit had gone in there between those long hung pipos. It means there were some trees uh, through which or between which a tiger went. A rabbit went over there. The cat had seen her enter. Now, cat had seen that rabbit, so he sat down and waited. So the cat sat over there and waited for that rabbit to come out. And he waited still in the white night. It means he was continuously waiting for that rabbit, listening angrily to the north wind, starting in the upper heights of the mountains. So listening angrily means the sound created by the winds. So he was just listening to those annoying sounds and that are creating by the winds. Okay, upper heights of the mountains with distant screams, then swelling into an awful crescendo of rage. Now crescendo means noise that gets louder and louder. Rage means anger. Okay, and swooping down with furious. Swooping means to move very quickly. With furious means with anger. White wings of snow like a flock of fierce eagles into valleys and ravines. Now, ravines refer to a deep, narrow gorge like a gully, as you can see. So, with the steep sides. Okay, the cat was on the side of the mountain. So, the mountain was there and cat was sitting over there. Okay, on a wooded terrace. It means there was a terrace which was made of wood. So, he was sitting on that. Above him a few feet away above him a few feet away means on a particular distance there was a rock or the mountain like figure, rock ascent as steep as a wall of cathedral. It means it was in a vertical manner. The steep or the rock was ascent over there, wall of a cathedral means church. He had often looked with wonder at the rock. So he was looking at the rock and looking somewhere else and meowed bitterly. Meowed is actually a sound which is created by cats. For example, you must have heard the meow sound of cat. So he was just meowed bitterly and resentfully. Resentfully means in anger, and as man does in the face of forbidding providence. It was the situation just like man face of forbidding providence. Forbidding means hostile, unfriendly or harsh. Providence is actually the care and control of God. Okay, a force that is not human in nature. At his left was the sheer precipice. Him means behind that particular cat was the frozen perpendicular wall of a mountain stream. As you can see, uh, frozen perpendicular wall of a mountain stream. It means there was a mountain and a stream was running from it. So because of the cold or because of the snow falling, it was frozen. Okay, so it was just like the waterfall has been frozen. Okay, so before him was the way to his home. It means in front of him there was a way that leads him to home. When the rabbit came out, she was trapped. Now, what happened? The rabbit came out, but she was trapped. It means because she was not movable. So she was trapped over there. Her little cloven feet. Cloven means you can say, her feet. Those were wrinkled, or you can say those got cracks just because of cold. could not scale such unbroken steeps. So the cat was not able to move just because his feet was paining. His feet were paining because of the cracks, just because of the cold. So the cat waited. So the cat waited over there only. The tangle of trees and bushes clinging to the mountain side with a stern clutch of roots. Clutch of roots means the hold of roots. To the prostrate trunks and branches. Prostrate means in a manner of bending towards the mountains. The vines embracing everything with strong knots. Knots means tied them tightly. And coils of growth had a curious effect as of things which had for ages in current of raging water. Only it was not water, but wind, which had disposed everything in a circling lines of yielding fiercest points of onset. It was as if ice needles pressed his skin. Ice needles means the needles made of ice, or you can say something which is in the shape of needle and made of ice, and it is very harsh and pointed. So it was just like piercing. It means it was making hole in the skin of the cat to his beautiful thick fur, but he never faltered and never once cried. But he never cried because of that pain. Why so? He had nothing to gain from crying, because if he cried, he could get nothing and everything to lose. But he could lose everything. The rabbit would hear him cry and know he was waiting. Because if he did so, the rabbit she must have got an idea that the cat is waiting for her. Okay, so just in fear that the rabbit would know about her waiting, about his waiting, so the rabbit will go away. So just because of that waiting situation, he did not cry even. Okay, so those things were piercing in the body or in the fur of that cat, but he did not cry at all, just because if he cried, the rabbit could know about his waiting. Okay, so this is the situation about a cat who is just waiting for the rabbit or for any prey, so that he could you can say quench his hunger. Okay, so this is actually, or you can say satisfy his hunger. We basically use the word quench for the thirst and satisfy for the hunger. So if he was just waiting for any prey so that he can you can say satisfy his hunger. Okay, so this was the paragraph about, this is actually the narrative description of a situation, or this is the descriptive story about a cat who is sitting on the mountain side on the wooden terrace, and it was bitter cold. The weather was bitter. It means it was very cold, and the cat was very hungry, extremely hungry, and he was just waiting for the prey. Okay, though he was struggling, the cold and also the snow, which made which made his fur pointed and needles like piercing his body. Okay, or penetrating his body. Now this was the passage. Now let us try to do questions based on this passage. So this is question number 1. Which of the following suggests a synonymous meaning to the words providence and crescendo? It means we have to tell the synonym of providence and crescendo respectively. So as I told you, providence is actually the hold of God or the care of God, and crescendo is the louder and louder voice or the height of something, when something is at the height. Okay, so according to this, nemesis and apex, zenith and nadir. Now zenith means the topmost point and nadir means bottom. So if zenith we see, it can be the meaning of crescendo but not providence. Okay, so we have to choose the meaning respectively. It means the first should be the synonym of providence and another should be the synonym of crescendo. Now apex is actually the synonym of crescendo. Okay, so obviously nemesis must be the synonym of providence. Yes, of course, nemesis is the synonym of providence. Laxity means leniency, prudence means the right thing. Short-sightedness means when someone is not able to see properly. absurd is the upperment of something which is not required over here. So according to this, first pair is absolutely correct. So option A is the correct answer. Okay. Now let us move to the next question. This is question number 12. The passage has been adorned with numerous figure of speeches. Figure of speeches are actually the art of writing literature or the art of writing anything. Which of the following combinations is correct? Now we have several combinations like irony and sarcasm, alliteration and pun, simile and personification, metaphor and onomatopoeia. Now, first of all, we'll discuss the meaning of each and every figure of speech first. Irony means when we say something but we mean something else. Okay, say something and mean something else. When we say something or mean something else. Okay, so what we say and what we mean is not, or what we feel uh, is not same. Okay, that is irony. It means we think something wrong about someone but we say some positive words for him. Okay. Sarcasm is also when we say something but that is only the satire which we are saying. Okay. Alliteration. Alliteration means when uh, alliteration is a situation where uh, two words corresponding, or you can say juxtaposition, or you can say oxymoron. You can say they are written side by side and they both begin with the same letter or same sound. Okay, the pronunciation of those two words, they begin with the same sound. Okay, for example, uh, crackers call. Suppose there's this crackers call, and here both the words are beginning with k sound, so that is alliteration. Okay. Pun, when uh, is a play of words, play with words, when someone play with words. Okay, for example, if I say check, now check the check. Now check the check means investigate the check. Okay, so check the check. I want you to check me. So that check can be related with the word CHEQUE, check. Okay, simile and personification. Simile, where we compare two things together. Simile is a situation in which we compare using the words, using the conjunctions like or as. Okay, when we compare two things using the word like and as. For example, as white as the snow. So here this is a simile. Okay. Personification, where non-human uh, non-humanification, sorry, it is personification, where a non-human object or non-human behaves like human. Now here, if we see this entire passage, we have talked about a cat which is not a human, and we have used a pronoun for that cat, that is he, and for rabbit we have used she or her. Now we are you can say portraying some uh, human characteristic in those non-human characteristics, so that is actually personification. And also, if you see that, now let me tell you again, metaphor, again when we compare two things but we do not use as or like. Okay, compare but we do not use uh, as or like. Okay, so that is metaphor. Onomatopoeia, sounds created by something, some animals or anyone. So sounds that create. So only if we see this paragraph, now these are the actually figure of speeches that we have talked about in this question. Now if you see if you look back to the passage, we have talked about cat and we have used he for this cat everywhere. For rabbit we have used she. Now if you see some lines like uh, then too under no constant of human will he was living in the winter. Okay, on the earth there was nothing. Okay, the cat was very hungry, famished. The cat's long tailed availed him nothing but with the inconceivable. Okay, the cat was a creature of above Now you can see that we have compared here cat with many things. For example, her pointed with fur with like pointed needles, as if ice needles. Okay, and also we have used as and like to compare cat with other things. Okay, so we have used many times as and like. So it means that in this passage we have used this combination, that is simile and personification. So here, according to this, C is the correct answer, because we have used many lines. In many lines, we have compared two things with each other using the word as or like, and also we have used cat as the human being, as the male being, so it is personification. So according to this, C is the correct answer. This combination is correct. Now let us move to the next question. The passage demonstrates which of the following motifs of cat's life: to satisfy the pangs of hunger, to survive the harsh winters, a never-ending wait, to hunt for rabbit. Obviously, the cat was waiting for a long time, for many days. It means that is a never-ending wait. So the correct answer will be C. Okay. Now let us move to the question number 14. The author's description of he was under no constraint of human will, for he was living alone, implies cat's absolute freedom from everything, cat's no association with human beings, cat's loneliness, or cat's tyrannical demeanor. Obviously, it is cat's loneliness, because the cat was all alone. Therefore, here the correct answer is C. Okay, because the cat was alone. No one was there in the world for him. Now the question number 15, the lines, but he never faltered and never once cried. He had nothing to gain from crying, and everything to lose, suggests that the cat is reflective, apologetic, resilient, or frustrated. Obviously, it was the quality of him to be resilient. It means successfully um, adapted to the stressors, or to the stresses that he faced. So he, though the ice needles, those were piercing his fur, sorry, but he did not cry. Just because he was resilient, it means he was flexible to adapt those situations. Okay, so here the correct answer will be resilient. Okay, he was not reflective, he was not apologetic or frustrated. In fact, he was resilient. It means though anything happened to her, he did not face any sort of you can say pain on his face. Okay, so according to this, that will be the correct answer. Now let us move to the passage number 4. So now we'll try to read the passage number 4. We'll try to read the entire passage 4. We'll try to analyze the meaning of that particular passage number 4, and after that we'll try to answer the questions as follows. Okay,